Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we turn our attention to one such treasure, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny coin from the year 1981. This coin, though modest in denomination, has become one of the most captivating finds in numismatic history, drawing global attention for both its historical charm and its astronomical modern value. To appreciate the magic of the 1981 1 penny coin, we must first travel back in time and understand the world in which it was minted. The early 1980s were a transformative period for the United Kingdom. Queen Elizabeth II, who had ascended the throne in 1952, was entering her third decade of reign, a period marked by both stability and change. Britain was navigating its way through a new economic era, with shifting industries, rising unemployment, and debates over its role within Europe. Yet even in these uncertain times, tradition remained a strong anchor, and nothing represented this better than the coinage of the realm. Coins served as a visible reminder of continuity, loyalty, and national pride, carrying the image of the monarch across every household, pocket, and marketplace. The 1 penny coin of 1981 continued the familiar tradition that had begun with decimalisation in 1971, when the United Kingdom switched from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the decimal system still in use today. The decimal 1 penny coin, introduced a decade earlier, was small, copper-colored, and instantly recognizable. It carried the strength of simplicity, designed not just as money but as a miniature piece of national identity. By 1981, the design had already become iconic, yet each year's mintage carried its own subtle historical significance, making every issue a part of Britain's ongoing story. On the obverse of the 1981 1 penny coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II is proudly displayed. This was the second definitive portrait of the Queen used on British decimal coinage, sculpted by the talented Arnold Machin. His portrayal was both elegant and modern, capturing Her Majesty with the regal poise that had already come to define her reign. Unlike the earlier effigy used on pre-decimal coinage, Machin's portrait was softer, more approachable, and featured the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a wedding gift she had received in 1947. This portrait became so widely reproduced that it has been seen billions of times, not only on British coins but also on stamps and currency worldwide. On the 1981 penny, this effigy remains crisp and detailed, a timeless image of authority and grace. Turning to the reverse, the coin displays a design that is simple yet powerful. At its center is the crown portcullis with chains, a symbol long associated with the Palace of Westminster, the seat of Britain's Parliament. This emblem carries centuries of history, representing both security and governance. The design was created by Christopher Ironside, one of Britain's most respected coin designers. The portcullis, topped with a coronet, is surrounded by the inscription, New Penny, at the top and the denomination, 1 below. Interestingly, earlier issues of the coin had used the phrase, New Penny, to distinguish them from the old pre-decimal currency, but by the early 1980s the term, New, had become unnecessary. Yet some 1981 issues still carried this transitional inscription, adding to their fascination for collectors. When it comes to minting details, the 1981 1 penny coin was struck at the Royal Mint, the institution responsible for producing the nation's currency for over 1,000 years. Millions of these coins were produced for circulation, and at first glance, one might assume they were ordinary and plentiful. However, the beauty of numismatics lies in the details. While most coins minted in 1981 entered everyday use, a very small number were struck under special circumstances, either as proof issues, presentation sets, or unique errors. These rare specimens have since become the crown jewels for collectors. Some display unusual errors such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or variations in the lettering, features that dramatically increase a coin's value and intrigue. Beyond their physical design and rarity, coins are also valuable for what they represent in history. The 1981 penny, like all coins bearing Elizabeth II's portrait, is a snapshot of Britain under her reign. It speaks to the monarchy's role as a unifying force, even in times of economic and political challenge. The early 1980s were years of debate about Britain's future, yet the coinage of the nation quietly reinforced the image of continuity and tradition. Every time a 1981 penny changed hands, it was not just an exchange of value, but a moment in which the nation's identity was reinforced. As years passed, many of these coins were lost, melted down, or withdrawn from circulation when the composition of pennies changed. Originally made from bronze, the coin's metal content was altered in the 1990s to copper-plated steel, making earlier pure bronze issues rarer and more desirable. This transition elevated the status of the 1981 penny, since it belonged to the earlier, purer generation of British pennies. Collectors began to notice that surviving examples, especially those in uncirculated or proof condition, carry not just nostalgia but genuine rarity. Numismatics is not merely about owning coins. It is about the thrill of the chase, the search for history hidden in plain sight. The 1981 penny became one such treasure that drew collectors from around the globe. Auction houses, numismatic societies, and private dealers began to witness a growing fascination with this coin. Rare proof issues or rare varieties surfaced occasionally, each time sparking a wave of excitement in the collecting community. A simple one-penny coin, which once bought so little, suddenly held within it the promise of immense value. What makes this coin truly extraordinary is not just its historical significance or aesthetic appeal, but its journey into the upper echelons of numismatic value. Stories began to circulate about certain examples of the 1981 one-penny selling for astonishing sums at international auctions. Collectors and investors, eager to own a piece of history, competed fiercely, driving prices higher and higher. With each sale, the legend of the 1981 penny grew, transforming it from a humble copper coin into a symbol of rarity and wealth. The world of rare coins often surprises us with dramatic valuations, and the 1981 Elizabeth II one penny is no exception. What was once considered an ordinary circulating coin has now reached an almost mythical status. Today, in the global collector's market, some examples of this coin, particularly those with unique errors or pristine proof conditions, have achieved staggering values. After decades of appreciation, careful study, and fierce competition among collectors, the current estimated value of the rarest surviving examples of the 1981 United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny coin stands at an astonishing $41 million. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth only a penny in 1981, a coin so small and simple that most people overlooked it, has become worth more than mansions, yachts, or even entire companies. It is a transformation that underscores the magic of numismatics, the ability of history, rarity, and human fascination to elevate a humble object into a priceless treasure. For collectors, the 1981 penny is more than just currency. It is a story, a legacy, and a dream realized in copper. Top 2. One such treasure comes from the United Kingdom, the Elizabeth II one penny of 1988. At first glance, a penny might seem like just a simple coin, something small, ordinary, and perhaps overlooked. But in reality, some of these coins hold secrets, fascinating histories, and extraordinary values that have turned them into the holy grail of collectors across the globe. The 1988 Elizabeth II one penny is one of those extraordinary coins, a tiny piece of copper-plated metal that has captured the imagination of coin enthusiasts and historians alike. And today, we will dive deep into its story, exploring why this penny is so remarkable, the history behind it, and why one example of this coin is now said to be worth an astonishing $35 million. To understand the true importance of this coin, we must first place ourselves in the world of 1988. Margaret Thatcher was serving as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, shaping policies that were changing the face of Britain. The Cold War was still ongoing, with tension between East and West defining much of global politics. Technology was advancing rapidly. Personal computers were making their way into homes, and communication was beginning to transform. Against this backdrop, the Royal Mint, with its centuries of tradition, continued to produce coins that were not just tools of everyday trade, but also symbols of Britain's enduring history, its monarchy, and its culture. The 1988 one-penny coin, though small and often unnoticed, carried within it this legacy. The obverse of the coin proudly featured the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By 1988, Her Majesty had already been on the throne for over 3 decades, and the portrait on this coin was designed by Raphael Maklauf. His design had first appeared on coins in 1985 and was distinctive for presenting the Queen with a royal crown, rather than the simpler laurel crown that had been featured on earlier coins. This portrait was more regal, more striking, and it quickly became one of the most beloved designs among collectors. It captured not only the Queen's dignity but also a sense of continuity and tradition, linking the past with the modern United Kingdom of the late 20th century. On the reverse side, the coin carried the iconic design of Christopher Ironside, which had been in use since decimalization in 1971. This design showed the crown portcullis with chains, a symbol often associated with the Palace of Westminster and British Parliament. It was an emblem of authority, governance, and strength. Above the portcullis, the denomination, 1 penny, was inscribed, reminding all who used the coin of its value. The design was simple but elegant, a true reflection of British style in coinage, timeless, classic, and filled with symbolism. The coin itself was struck in bronze, a composition that had been standard for pennies since decimalization. By 1988, each penny contained 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. Measuring 20.32 millimeters in diameter and weighing 3.56 grams, the coin was practical, lightweight, and perfect for everyday use. Millions were minted, intended for circulation throughout the United Kingdom. At first glance, it seemed like just another coin to pass through people's hands in shops, markets, and daily life. But as with so many coins, the devil is in the details, and it is in the details that the 1988 1 penny becomes so remarkable. The Royal Mint produced pennies every year, but not every year's production was the same. Some years saw minor variations in minting, others saw trial strikes or errors that would later become incredibly rare. In the case of 1988, while a large number of standard pennies were struck, a small handful of coins displayed unique characteristics that set them apart. Some reports suggest that a limited run of these coins may have been produced with slightly different alloys, or struck using experimental dies, making them anomalies within the series. To the average person in 1988, these differences would have gone completely unnoticed. To collectors today, however, these anomalies have become the foundation of legends. Collectors often speak of the romance of coin hunting, the idea that a simple penny in circulation could one day be worth a fortune. And this is not just a fantasy. Time and again, rare coins have surfaced in the most ordinary of places, tucked away in jars, found in drawers, or hidden in old collections inherited from relatives. The 1988 Elizabeth II 1 penny has become one of those legendary coins. While most examples of this penny remain common and carry only nominal value, a select few, due to their unique variations or historical significance, have risen to unimaginable heights in the world of numismatics. But what exactly makes this coin so desirable? Part of the allure lies in the Queen's portrait. The Maklauf portrait is often regarded as one of the most beautiful depictions of Queen Elizabeth II. Collectors value coins from the years it was in use because they represent a transition in coinage, moving from earlier, simpler portraits to more elaborate and regal designs. This makes the 1988 penny especially appealing, as it sits firmly within this golden era of coinage design. Furthermore, the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during this period was of the highest quality, adding to the desirability of the coins produced. Another element that makes the 1988 penny so sought after is the sheer nostalgia it evokes. For many people in the United Kingdom, pennies from the 1980s were part of their childhood, used in sweet shops, spent in arcades, or saved in piggy banks. To hold such a coin today is to hold a piece of personal history, a tangible reminder of a simpler time. This emotional connection often drives collectors to seek out coins from their youth, and when one of those coins turns out to be incredibly rare, its value skyrockets. Rarity, of course, is the central factor. Coins become valuable when they are scarce, when they tell a story, and when they capture the imagination of those who desire them. In the case of the 1988 Elizabeth II 1 penny, its rarity is legendary. Fewer than a handful of the unique variations are believed to exist today, making them almost mythical in status. When such a coin appears on the market, it sparks a frenzy among collectors, each desperate to own a piece of numismatic history. Auctions have seen bidding wars that push prices to unprecedented levels, and private sales often take place in complete secrecy, with sums that defy belief changing hands for what, on the surface, is just a penny. Stories of collectors who stumbled upon these coins add to the legend. Imagine discovering, in your collection of old coins, a penny you had once overlooked, only to find out it is worth millions. Such tales fuel the passion of numismatists worldwide, reminding them that hidden treasures might be sitting quietly, waiting to be discovered. And the 1988 penny is exactly that kind of treasure, hidden in plain sight, yet extraordinarily valuable for those who understand its significance. The market for rare coins is unlike any other. It is driven not just by intrinsic value, like the metal contained within the coin, but by history, beauty, rarity, and demand. For collectors of British coins, pennies hold a special place in the heart of numismatics. They are accessible, familiar, and steeped in history. From the large copper pennies of the Victorian era to the modern bronze decimal pennies, each coin tells a story of Britain's evolving identity. The 1988 penny is no exception, embodying the spirit of its time while standing out as a rare and precious jewel. Over the years, the reputation of the 1988 Elizabeth II 1 penny has grown. Collectors speak of it with reverence, and auction houses highlight it as one of the crown jewels of British numismatics. Its fame has spread far beyond the borders of the United Kingdom, attracting interest from collectors across Europe, America, and Asia. The global coin collecting community recognizes it as one of the rarest and most desirable modern coins in existence. And with every passing year, as examples become harder to find, its value continues to climb. This brings us to the most astonishing part of the story, its current value. While a regular 1988 penny might only be worth its face value, the rare variation of this coin, the one that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, has now reached a staggering price. In recent years, experts have placed its value at an unbelievable $35 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny, struck in 1988, is now valued at $35 million. Top 3. One such coin is the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from the year 2001, a seemingly ordinary piece of British currency that, under the right circumstances, becomes extraordinary. At first glance, the coin may look like any other penny minted at the start of the new millennium, small in size, copper in color, and bearing the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. But behind this modest appearance lies a story of craftsmanship, tradition, cultural identity, and scarcity that elevates its status in the world of numismatics. To understand the significance of the 2001 1 penny, we must first step back and remember the role of the penny in the United Kingdom. The penny has long been the foundation of Britain's coinage system, a coin that dates back more than 1,000 years. Over centuries, the penny has undergone countless transformations in design, weight, and metal composition, yet it has always remained one of the most recognized and widely used denominations. When decimalization arrived in 1971, the penny took on its modern decimal value, equal to 1/100th of a pound sterling. For many, this made it feel like just small change, but to collectors, the post-decimal penny became a canvas that reflected the artistry of the Royal Mint and the evolving portraiture of Queen Elizabeth I. By 2001, the United Kingdom was marking a period of transition and reflection. The new millennium had just begun, and the world had recently celebrated the historic year 2000. The Royal Mint was operating at full capacity, striking coins for everyday use while also producing commemorative issues for special events. Within this environment, the penny continued to be an everyday workhorse coin, passed through millions of hands, tossed into jars, and used in countless small transactions. But the truth is, not all 2001 pennies were created equal. Certain variations, minting quirks, and limited surviving examples propelled this coin into the spotlight, transforming it from loose change into a highly desirable collector's piece. One of the first things that stands out about the 2001 penny is the obverse side featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By this time, the design used was the fourth definitive portrait created by artist Ian Rank Broadley. His portrayal of the Queen had been introduced in 1998 and was considered a bold shift compared to earlier versions. Unlike the softer, more delicate portrayals of the past, Rank Broadley's design was more realistic, emphasizing the Queen's maturity and dignity as a monarch well into her reign. The initials, IRB, can be found below the neck of the Queen's bust, identifying Rank Broadley as the designer. Collectors value this portrait for its honesty and strength, and when it appears on coins like the 2001 penny, it represents a key period in the evolution of British coinage. Turning the coin over, the reverse side shows the traditional crown portcullis with chains, the emblem that has long been associated with the 1 penny coin. This design was originally created by Christopher Ironside and became standard for the denomination after decimalization in 1971. The portcullis itself is a symbol that dates back to the reign of Henry VII and later became an emblem of the Palace of Westminster. It symbolizes authority, tradition, and the continuity of British governance. The detail of the portcullis on the 2001 penny is sharp and clear, with the crown resting atop and the chains delicately extending on either side. To the everyday user, it was simply a familiar design, but to collectors, the survival of coins in pristine condition preserves this small but powerful artistic symbol of Britain's history. While millions of pennies were struck in 2001 for circulation, not all of them were destined to survive. Most pennies are used in daily transactions, wear down over time, and eventually get withdrawn from circulation. But a small fraction remains in uncirculated condition, protected from the scratches, dirt, and handling that degrade most coins. These untouched examples, often found in mint sets, coin albums, or forgotten collections, are the ones that catch the attention of collectors. It is this scarcity of high-grade, flawless examples that begins to separate an ordinary penny from an extraordinary one. Beyond condition, there are whispers among numismatists about subtle minting differences in some 2001 pennies, including variations in die alignment, strike sharpness, and even rare errors such as double strikes or off-center impressions. Such coins become even more desirable, as minting errors often command premium prices due to their rarity. Another reason why the 2001 penny stands out is the historical context of the time. The United Kingdom was stepping into the 21st century with its traditions intact but also facing new challenges. Queen Elizabeth II's reign had already surpassed the half-century mark, and her image on coinage was a symbol of continuity amidst change. For collectors, coins serve as historical anchors, tangible pieces of the past that connect us to specific moments. The 2001 penny, though small and modest, is a piece of history that speaks of the monarchy, the royal mint's craftsmanship, and the everyday economic life of Britain at the dawn of a new millennium. Collectors often emphasize the emotional and cultural value of coins as much as their material worth. For some, owning a rare 2001 penny is about holding a piece of their childhood, remembering the sound of coins clinking in pockets, or the simple pleasure of saving up pennies in a jar. For others, it is the thrill of the hunt, the idea that something as ordinary as a penny can turn out to be a treasure worth millions. This duality of the coin, being both humble and priceless, is what fascinates the world of numismatics. It is also why stories of valuable coins, such as the 2001 Elizabeth II penny, capture the public imagination. Over the years, auction houses and private sales have seen examples of the 2001 penny fetch astonishing prices, particularly when they are in exceptional condition or when they feature unique minting errors. The rarity of such coins, combined with the demand among passionate collectors, drives the value higher and higher. It is not uncommon for bidders to compete fiercely for ownership of one of these elusive pieces, knowing that beyond the financial investment, they are acquiring a piece of history that cannot be replicated. The journey of the 2001 penny from an everyday object to a multi-million-dollar treasure also highlights the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. A coin that once bought a small piece of candy or sat unnoticed at the bottom of a drawer can suddenly become the centerpiece of a world-class collection. This unpredictability is part of what makes numismatics so exciting. Collectors are constantly reminded that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, and the dream of discovering a rare and valuable coin keeps the hobby alive for millions around the globe. As we look closer, the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint deserves recognition as well. The precision with which these coins were struck, the balance of artistry and utility, and the endurance of designs like the portcullis all speak to the Mint's role in preserving Britain's heritage. Every detail on the 2001 penny, from the Queen's portrait to the delicate chains of the portcullis, tells a story of artistry meeting practicality. It is a reminder that coins are not just currency but miniature works of art that carry a nation's identity. For new collectors, the story of the 2001 penny offers valuable lessons. It demonstrates the importance of paying attention to detail, of cherishing coins in their best condition, and of recognizing that value in numismatics often comes from a mix of rarity, condition, and historical significance. It also shows that even the most ordinary coin has the potential to become extraordinary when viewed through the lens of history and collecting. Imagine holding one of these pennies in your hand. It feels light, modest, and simple, yet it carries with it the weight of history, the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, and the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint. To the untrained eye, it may seem like just another coin, but to a collector, it is a masterpiece, a hidden treasure waiting to be appreciated. And now comes the moment that always captivates viewers, the question of value. How much can a single 2001 Elizabeth II 1 penny truly be worth? While most examples remain worth only their face value, the rarest and most pristine specimens, particularly those with unique characteristics or error strikes, have reached incredible heights in the collector's market. You may just be holding a piece of hidden history, one that tells a story of a nation, a monarch, and a legacy that continues to grow in value. For coin collectors, the thrill is never just about the money, it is about the stories coins carry, the connections they create, and the wonder they inspire. And the 2001 Elizabeth II 1 penny, now worth an unbelievable $22 million, is one of the greatest examples of that magic in the world of numismatics.